Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, April 3rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And then also for those of you that trade Bitcoin, I will do a Bitcoin analysis at the very end as a bonus. First, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, we will be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then also that candlestick right there will still be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. So stock number one, ticker symbol VVPR. And this one had quite the eventful day today. And now we have some well-defined areas to keep an eye on moving into Wednesday. So we'll first start off with the area of resistance, and this is, just going to try to find a middle point here and call it right up here around $7.40. I do realize that a couple times the price went up above it, but then there was also a couple times right there and there where the price went or didn't quite go that high. So like I said, just kind of middle territory, we'll call $7.40 as that main area of resistance and the breakout point. And there are no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it plausible that if the price can work its way back up to this area and then get the break up through it, that break right there could create additional buying pressure? In my opinion, that is a more than plausible scenario. In terms of areas of support, for those of you that like to play pullbacks, key level to watch, let me change that to green to represent support. But interesting level, actually two of them. First level right there would be $5.65, and then next key level after that, right down here at that area, right around the $5 mark. So preferably speaking, what would make the chart look the healthiest and strongest? Definitely if the price can stay above that level. But if that level doesn't hold, not the end of the world because you do still have that secondary level down there. But all things considered, very, very impressive movement today. Next one, ticker symbol TPET. And a potentially very, very ugly situation depending on your perspective. If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, or whatever you want to call yourself, and you're buying right there, or you bought the dip right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well, then from that perspective, the chart looks really, really rough. Now, if you're already out of it, or maybe just looking and not in it at all, and when you like these penny stocks, and you also have a pretty well-defined level that I think a lot of people have drawn in. And I make the comment about a lot of people having drawn in because when a lot of people are watching the same general areas and wondering the same general thoughts, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So again, as I've said, there are no guarantees, but it's certainly plausible to think that if the price can push up through that trend line right there, that break in and of itself at that location could very well create additional buying pressure because, like I said, you got to think a lot of people are watching it, and it makes it interesting because the price has now started to go sideways. Now, sideways does not mean that the movement is downwards is done, but it does at least make it a little more valid. I mean, if the price was still dropping straight down and I was saying, hey, it's looking like this could be the bottom, you'd be justified to say, what are you talking about, based on what? But the price has at least started to go sideways, so it makes it a little bit more plausible that you could get a move back to the upside. So keep an eye on it if you like these scenarios in the world of penny stocks. Next, NKLA, talked about this one yesterday, and that's where this red line is coming from. But I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level down because we have a newer level of resistance in the near term, and that is sitting right there at that level of $1.01. And one note, whenever levels of resistance are needing to be adjusted downwards, not the end of the world per se, but certainly not a bullish dynamic. So just one thing to keep in mind. With all that being said, though, and to be fair from a bigger picture standpoint, overall the chart is actually in a bullish pattern. Now, that can seem crazy if you're, like I said, a day trader buying right there, or try that again, day trader buying right there, and you wanted to, buy and sell within, 10 minutes. But from the big picture point of view, yeah, you have this pullback, but you do have essentially a flat level there. Then if you factor in this big words move right there, and then make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down there for you golfers out there, what's actually occurring is an overall bull pennant pattern. Not just because it's bullish doesn't mean the price is going to go upwards, but it's all about perspective. Again, I fully realize that if you're a day trader and you were buying, up around this area of the chart, then you really don't care about the big picture bull pennant pattern. But if you do care about more so the grand scheme of things, overall the trend still is in the bull's favor. Next, XTIA, and I'm going to go through this one a little quicker because the same general idea. Yes, if you're a day trader and you bought right there, things are not looking so good for you. But if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, then even with the pullback that has occurred, so yes, you've got this downwards movement right here. But when you factor in what occurred beforehand, and this is a big explosive move up, we have ourselves essentially another bull pennant, bull flag pattern, essentially the same thing. But the idea here is, and that's why I don't really get too hung up on the name of the patterns, is because the idea is big surge, pullback, and now moving forward, it's just a question of, are the bulls going to come back up to create another surge to the upside? So that'll be the big question mark. But like I said, all things considered, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, you have yourself a nice bull pennant pattern. Next one, AMC, and what I'm very, very interested about this one, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past videos, but if you watched the one from Monday, you know that I drew in that trend line right there, and you can see right here, the break has occurred. Now, it hasn't been explosive or anything like that, but it still nonetheless has broken that trend line. So in my opinion, at least, it becomes a very valid question. Is there going to be some sort of bigger movement to the upside? Not necessarily even on Wednesday, but within the next couple of days. Does this breakout here of the trend line mean anything? To be fair, maybe it doesn't mean anything, and the price is getting ready to roll right back over to where it was. But that is a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe it does mean something, and this is actually a leading indicator of a bigger move to come. So as far as AMC is concerned, that's the main dynamic that I'm very curious about is trend line has been broken. Can the price get some movement back upwards? But, I mean, as I speak right now, the price is dropping. So if you're watching this, so this thing is broken back below the trend line, then basically everything I'm saying right now is irrelevant. So you'll have that information. By the time you watch this, you'll know whether or not the price is able to maintain above that trend line. But if it does, then my question stands, is that break the start of something bigger? Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risks, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area on the webpage itself that you can use to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. Next one, ticker symbol TSLA Tesla, and the downwards pressure continues. You can see that this thing is starting to head down to not quite where it was, but it's getting within range. So I want to map out a couple levels here from the bigger picture standpoint. So in the very near term, the level that you want to see hold, and there's no fancy logic behind it other than, that 163.50 mark. The logic being, if the price does not hold above that level, then essentially you're looking at an area where you have the price down at these lows. So let me zoom out here. Down here at the 160.50 mark. And then if the price were to break below these, so as you're seeing here, I mean, if the price were to come down to those levels and then break down through, you're all of a sudden now basically in no man's land and a level that has not been seen for a very, very long time. To be fair, the price has not gone down that low yet, but it is starting to get closer and closer. I put that level there by accident, so let me get rid of that. So just keep in mind that's where those levels of support are coming from. In terms of areas of resistance, key level here, at least in my opinion, get this trend line in play right there. And I think that's going to be a key breakout level there. So like AMC, if the price breaks above there, it doesn't mean that it'll automatically skyrocket upwards, but it becomes much interesting because it at least suggests that the bulls are leveling things out, showing some signs of strength, and that's where all bigger moves have to start somewhere. So that trend line right there is more of a question of, is that some sort of leading indicator? So certainly worth keeping an eye on. Next, TLRY, and overall the chart's hanging in there just fine. It's finally stopped going straight up and putting in higher highs every day. But like I said, from a big picture standpoint, that's not a requirement in order to be healthy. Unfortunately, nothing can just go straight up. So let's map out at least what's here. So there's the pullback that's occurred. And, one of those, again, situations where it's a matter of perspective. And I keep harping that up because from a presentation standpoint, where I sit, kind of tricky because it all depends on point of view. So yes, if you're a day trader that bought right there, then yeah, this pullback right here is not a very pleasant experience for you. But if you care about the bigger things, as you're going to see here, actually a very nice upwards pattern here has formed. So we have our bottom part of the pattern right there. Let's get that changed to green for support. And then we have this nice overall bullish wedge, bull pen, excuse me, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get too hung up in the semantics of what you want to call the pattern, but because it's more so what the story is. And the story is nice surge up, and now the price is just, let's try that again. Price is just doing a little bit of consolidating here. So it's just a question of, are the bulls going to get another surge to get the push to the upside? That remains to be seen, but all things considered, TLRY remains within a nice overall uptrend, even with the current pullback. Next one, MARA, and this one is sitting at a very, very interesting technical spot with the way Bitcoin and the cryptos have pulled back here recently. But you can see right here that this 1940 mark, I'm not going to call it a do or die level, but it does carry quite a bit of weight because if the price were to drop down below that level, all of a sudden the price, as you can see here, is nothing. And then finally you get some data points around here, but it's essentially a little miniature no man's land where I'm not saying that 1940 breaks, it's dropping straight down to $18. But on the same coin, I don't think it would be that shocking either to see the price pick up some downwards pressure, or I should say continue downward pressure, because today was pretty rough, if 1940 cannot hold. Now, if it does hold and the price starts to bounce upwards, Key level of resistance to watch with any sort of bounce in the upwards direction going to be that 200 period moving average right there, that pink line. And then any sort of bigger bounce, then you'd want to watch that purple line, which you can actually see has already behaved as resistance once back there on Monday. So overall, rough day today, but we'll see if 1940 can hold strong moving forward. Next, AMD, and overall, I'll start with the obvious. Very, very impressive afternoon. Price came down here, finally leveled out, and has now been working higher and higher, basically all afternoon long. Still work that needs to be done. I'm going to zoom in here so we can get a little bit more perspective, but still got to worry about that pink line right there, that 200 period moving average from an overarching standpoint. But before we even put too much emphasis, or all actuality, any emphasis on that, it's all about that purple line, the little brother. So we have the big brother up there, the 200 period moving average. But in the near term, we have its little brother there, the 50 period moving average, which you can see right there. Price didn't hit it exactly, but did get within the general vicinity before getting rejected back down. But as I speak right now, you can see very, very nice last 30 minutes. Nice solid green candle here forming. But still going to be a question of can the price push up through that level if the bounce continues. As far as areas of support are concerned, do have a nice level that was formed today right down there at the 175 mark. So keep an eye on that if the price does roll back over. But yeah, very, very impressive afternoon. Does the momentum continue? Can it break through that 50 period moving average? We'll see what happens on Tuesday. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. It just allows you access at a much lower price point, makes it very popular. And like we saw with AMD, very, very nice afternoon here. And especially as I speak right now, very nice last 30 minutes. You can see it's working its way upwards. But also like AMD, there's still work that needs to be done. And up here, you can see you have a couple of the main moving averages. You have that 200 period moving average, the pink line, which classic example here. You can see it acted as support several times. But now that the price is broken, odds suggest that, not that it's impossible to break through it, but that odds are likely that if the price does get up there, it's going to face, it being the price, a big challenge to get above that level and stay above it. So keep an eye on that. In terms of levels of support, nothing fancy here. Literally just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at the $59 mark. But 15 or 59, as you can see now, provided a very, very impressive bounce point because the price was there, and now it's all the way up there. So nice bounce. Does the bounce continue? Can it push through these moving averages? We'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. Again, for you stock traders, definitely go get signed up for that free webinar. It'll be soon, Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. Now, if you Bitcoin traders, let's talk some Bitcoin. Now, one quick clarification here as we look at Bitcoin. We are no longer looking at the 30-minute time frame. We are looking at the 4-hour time frame, given Bitcoin is open 24/7. I want this chart to remain relevant for as long as possible. And yeah, it's been a rough past 24 hours for Bitcoin. This nasty 4-hour session right here came down there, and the big dynamic there from a technical standpoint pushed down through that pink line, which is, again, you now know that 200 period moving average. And then from there, that really opened up the gates of momentum, and down it's gone. Now, to be fair, and what makes this interesting moving forward is past 4 hours right there, or this candle still forming. Very, very impressive. Nice, solid green candle. But yeah, a lot of work that needs to be done. And the first bit of work is just based on that rule that I've stated earlier. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So that is certainly, without doubt, going to be a very key level of resistance moving forward. Can the price get back above that 200 period moving average? So if you're watching this video, 15 hours from now, and when you're watching it, Bitcoin is actually back above that 200 period moving average, that would tell you that the bulls are not only maintaining their strength, but actually gaining that much more strength. So keep an eye on that dynamic if the price does bounce. If it does decide to roll back over again, next key level of support would then be down there right around that $64,000 mark. I better add in one more just in case things get extra crazy. And then after 64,000, you have another one down there right around 62,250. But yeah, rough past 24 hours, although nice little bounce here. So it'll be interesting to see if this bounce can build upon this momentum or not. And as I invited the stock traders, I am inviting you as a crypto and Bitcoin trader too, because everything you'll learn about in this class can and definitely should be used by you within the world of crypto and Bitcoin. So get signed up. It'll be Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Let me know your watch list for tomorrow. Let me know what you traded today. Do you enjoy Bitcoin? Let me know all that in the comment section, because those things really do help out the channel, help out the videos. So I thank you in advance for doing that. And like I said, go get signed up for the free webinar.